Welcome back to part 2 of The Guilty Feminist. So plug in and get ready for the fun.
How was your interval, everybody? Did Matt buy you a drink? That would have been a nice thing to do for feminism. Get a round in. A lot of hard-working feminists in this audience. They're out there day after day delivering your post and creating sports bars where you can watch women play football. Oh, you're an engineer. Could you build it? Could you build the Paradise Eaton bar? You're not that useful. What kind of engineering do you do? Safety? People seem disappointed. They don't enjoy safety. They like to live on the edge. They're reckless. They're outrageous. They're dangerous.
Yeah, we want danger engineers.
I'm sure you do a wonderful job, Matt, whatever it is that you do that we don't quite understand and don't have time to get into. Now, somebody has left a beautiful book on the chair, but I don't know who it is. Shall I look inside? Is it? It says index, and then it says... Oh.
It's Dureshawar's.
Oh.
Well,
it's not a gift, it's her notebook.
Finders keepers.
Oh, it's her notebook. It looked like a present left on the chair, and I thought, oh, this is some audience members left this. That's awkward now. Because I'm literally now just reading her diary. Wow, okay. It's very beautiful, though. Now, the show, and I cannot be too clear about this, is only halfway through. This is the beginning of the second act.
We got a talking to. Let's keep it pacey in the second
No.
It's fair. People have got homes to go to.
No, not at all. It's me. I'm always the woolly one. I've got ADHD, and I've no sense of time. I've got some cakes, because we can't eat all of these on our own. So who in the front row, or you could come up for it, would like Monday Must Be a Man, It Comes Too Quickly? Anyone like that? Someone in the front row said you'd like that, yeah? And then who else? There's one more. Would you like Be Your Own Daddy, Make Your Own Sugar? Be your own daddy, make your own sugar? Would anyone like that? I think that's a good message. Someone would like... Claire, do you mind? Sorry, I've got too many things.
I did just wash my hands.
What happened?
Daddy
you drop it?
Daddy wanted some sugar.
Who would like When There Are Nine, which is a quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
It's absolutely... Is that all right?
Yeah. Who would like Vasectomies Prevent Abortions? Is someone there? Vasectomies Prevent Abortions. Claire, you're doing a sterling job there. And who would like In This House We Are Feminist? I don't remember saying any of these things, but I love that they've all been written on cakes. If anyone wants another one, we could just leave it at the end of the stage and people could come and get them. I've left them under here. We've got loads still backstage, so we've been eating them too. We got some. They gave us some golden gay time cakes. Do you know golden gay times? Australia's, frankly, most amusing ice cream on a stick. If you're listening internationally, it's a absolutely normal part of my childhood. There's an ice cream on a stick called a golden gay time.
Sorry, are you saying it wasn't part of your childhood?
Absolutely normal part of my childhood. But internationally, this is going to sound amusing. No one will find it funny here. If you're listening anywhere that isn't Australia, as a child, go down to the shop, a lot of ice creams there, popsicles, things like that. And there'd be a golden gay time, and the slogan was, and still is to this day, it's hard to have a gay time on your own. Fair. That's still the slogan in 2024. They've not changed that.
That's because it's still true.
Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree.
That's like, I mean, that's a a queer version of when one hand claps in a forest, isn't it? She's combined two things there. It's all right. It's a podcast. It gets edited. Don't worry.
Our first guest you met in the first half. She is an incredible theatre maker. You've seen her be an incredible poet. She's got an extraordinary CV. Put your hands together and make incredible woohooing noises for Dureshawar Khan. Dureshawar Khan, thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us again. Before we get down and right down deep into it...
yeah, I forgot my diary. I have ADHD.
Me too. I forgot that you left your diary here and thought it was a present for me.
Oh, and sorry, and are these your glasses?
The whole ensemble.
Yeah, because that headdress is definitely mine. Our second guest is the founder of Modest Fashion Australia and Secret Sky, a company that promotes modest fashion, cultural awareness, sells products and supports local and international modern fashion designers through advocacy and creating special fashion events. She was formerly a board member of The Last Great Hunt, an innovative theatre company. She's done all sorts of extraordinary things in performing arts and fashion and has a Bachelor of Law. Please put your hands together and make incredible, welcoming, guilty feminist noises for Aisha Novakovich. Hello. Hello. Oh, no, I'm just giving you a hug.
Yes, I felt a little bit left out there.
Okay. So let's get right into it. Modest fashion. Can I ask you, Aisha, when feminists hear the word modest, some of them might have an association with that word. So I do, for example, because I was in a very strict religious cult when I was growing up, a Christian cult, and the word modest was associated with women should be modest, women should be in their place, women should be not seen and not heard, no need for you, really. So that word, for me, is loaded. And I know it's got a different connotation with you, and you have a modest fashion brand. Can you unpack that for us? Because your feminism at backstage was seething. It was seething throughout.
I wouldn't say that.
No, it was oozing.
Was it okay?
Yeah. But boiling,
Just
bubbling.
representing me. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me on this show. I absolutely had no idea what this show was all about. I actually thought it was just a lecture and a panel show. No, seriously, when I got invited through LinkedIn, I thought, oh, okay, I'll just put that one in my diary. To be fair, I was in the middle of studying exams. So it was just sort of, chuck that one in the diary. It came around and here I am.
Yeah,
So I had no idea this was all about stand-up comedy and singing and dancing and what have you. So I do feel inadequately prepared. So I will do my best, but thank you.
You brought your tap shoes though, right?
I did, actually.
We're not sure what this show is, to be honest with
Okay,
you.
that's
I don't
okay.
think anyone really knows.
I'm in the right place.
The only thing that I'll say about it is that we can change your gear with a lot of handbrake turns. So you go wherever you want to go and we'll follow you. Is that not right, audience? Yes.
Is that okay? Can we get intense as well? Because I've got some really light questions I've given you as well, but we'll get there. So modesty, I think in a Western context is what you've said. It's about being shy and retired, meek and mild. If you're Asian like me, that's another stereotype. Sometimes we like to play to that one, don't we? Because sometimes it's convenient. But yes, it's true.
I'm a feminist bum.
Yeah, so that's our little secret. But I'm from Indonesia. And anyone who has gone to Indonesia, who here has been to Indonesia, not just Bali, but that's okay if you have.
I've been to Bali too.
You'll be forgiven because
Sorry,
it's a nice little warm-up.
Is there more than Bali?
Is that a trick question? Right. Actually, it's an archipelago with about 17,000 islands. Just to let you know. Oh, do we have some Indonesians here? Okay, that's all right. I will represent, I suppose. Okay, so modesty over there. Modest fashion is a booming industry, but in places like Indonesia, even Pakistan and India, it's bright, there's colour, we're covered, it's about choices, it's about options. If you want to go to the gym, do you get to wear a Nike hijab? Do you get something, wear something beautiful like this? It's still glamorous, so you can be fully covered but express your true identity. And if you are an observant Muslim, that means abiding by the parameters set by the religion. And a lot of people don't know that modesty is actually prescribed for men as well. So that's another stereotype. But modesty is not about being quiet and being shy. It's about being yourself. See, when I'm at home, I don't wear this. I have literally been asked, do I shower in this? Depends on what kind of mood I'm in. But seriously, I don't. So in front of men that I'm related to, my sons, females, I'm fully uncovered. Well, not fully, because that would freak out my sons. I am comfortable, but sometimes, oh, Mum, put some more clothes on, for God's sake. Just like you were saying, you were using your daughter, as I really related to that. Yeah, so modesty has different connotations within the Muslim world.
No, listen, and I also understand, from friends of mine who wear the hijab, it's we all want to cover bits of ourselves. I wouldn't feel comfortable if someone said, "Oh, well, it's tops off this afternoon. Just get your tits out." I wouldn't feel. I just would be like, "No, thanks. That's okay." In fact, I was once in Germany and I was doing a corporate. I was doing like a creativity workshop, and they said, "Oh, after this, we take you to the sauna and we go naked sauna together." And I said, "No, I won't be doing that." And they laughed at me and they said, "Oh, you're such a Brit. You're so covered up." And I'm like, "We work together. I've just met you. I don't want to be naked with you under anything." I would keep my coat on at an orgy, to be honest.
Well, it depends. Well, it doesn't really, but look, it depends. Modesty is quite a relative term. So, for example, if you're in a nudist colony, right? Just go there for a minute. You're there, okay? Like wearing a bikini would be considered modest wear. Right, so when I am fully covered in the Western context, people go, "Wow, that's so much." But in my world, that's really normal. So everyone's going to have a bit of a different reaction. I know we're going to talk about the time when I actually used to be fully covered. I used to wear the niqab, we call it the face veil, and that was a completely different experience. But I want people to know that whilst there are women out there who you don't get the choice to cover up, I did, and I had that choice. My mother was against it when I was 14 years old, but I persisted. It was my kind of teenage rebellion to become a fanatic. So that was my game plan to really piss her off. No, it wasn't about that. No, it wasn't. There were much more noble spiritual reasons behind it. No, trust me, it's true. And, modesty is a fashion statement as well, but the bottom line is whether a woman chooses to cover or uncover, it really should be her choice. Mm.
You talk backstage about your reason for uncovering your face, because you wore the veil for a while, the face veil for a while, and then you took it off. And you asked me to unpack that a bit. And I don't know how to ask that question. I've got no link.
Maybe Claire has it's a bit of an unveiling.
Well, you did sort of just ask, but yes,
you can just ask. You can read the question.
How long?
Don't be scared.
How long did you wear it for? And what was it that made you decide to stop wearing it?
Okay, so imagine I would leave my house fully covered in all black, gloves, face covered, socks even. And
like a little ninja.
Absolutely, and I loved being called that. It was a bit weird when they called me Osama bin Laden's wife, or go back to where you came from. All these kinds of things. Or Ned Kelly was another one. The letterbox. I thought that was a bit creative, So I put that on when I was 14 years old, and after 9/11 happened. So I was married to my first husband. I've had a few husbands, by the way. So that's a true story. It's quite normal these days, isn't it? But someone understands. It's okay. You don't have to out yourself there. But it's okay. The thing is that I wanted to keep wearing it in actual fact, but I had just had my first son. I was very vulnerable. I had suffered from postnatal, had gone through a lot of domestic violence. So I felt very vulnerable. 9/11 happened, and I will kid you not, some people to this day cannot believe that I'm not kidding you, every single time I left my house, I was stared at, abused, people would try to take it off. I mean, there were stories, I know, I mean, when you see, I grew up in Australia, I came here when I was 6 weeks old from Indonesia where I was born. You do see sort of the underbelly of Australian society, and it's not always very pretty. And that's not to say that when you see a woman fully dressed and she looks like Darth Vader, like it is a visceral reaction, it's okay to kind of go, wow, that's different, because you don't see that every day. So it's a natural human reaction. Where it got out of control when people started abusing me. So how did I respond? I isolated myself. I went into a depression. A lot of women felt for their safety. And I really felt that it put pressure on my marriage. And in Islam, we have a hierarchy of priorities. Covering your face is not compulsory, but investing in your marriage and your family life is, even though it wasn't perfect. So I really felt that pressure from my husband. That might surprise a lot of people going, yeah, but didn't a man force you to wear that? It was actually the opposite. And can you imagine, after wearing it for 8 years, there were people in the community who had never seen my face before. So the reactions were quite hilarious, actually. Like, oh, who are you? We've met. We've known each other for about 7 years.
Wow. Gosh, I can't even imagine what that must have been like.
Was it sort of like a gender reveal party? But like, you stand there and you pop the balloon and it's you.
And I hoped it wouldn't have been as it's like, you know, oh, is that all? You know.
It must have felt very strange the first day you went out after
I felt
so
naked.
many years.
I
Yeah.
actually felt naked.
Wow, absolutely extraordinary. But it's really interesting that I've known other women similarly whose parents were like, no, don't cover, and they have decided to wear the hijab. And it's really interesting that your mother was against it. Your mother doesn't cover, did you say?
She didn't at the time, and in actual fact, well, you know, my sisters would say I forced them to cover, but that's not true. A little bit of gentle pressure, okay, when I was 12. I was very passionately committed to it, and none of them actually wear it, but my mum actually started wearing it, so she was the last one in my family. So we'd go out to the shops, and there'd be like my mum, and then me, I'd be covered, and, you know, like my 3 younger sisters, and then my mum was the only one uncovered, actually, because Indonesian society is very tolerant with their religion in ways that you might not find in other cultures the way they practice Islam. My mum actually, she hated the idea of me covering my face. She said, my God, you've become a fanatic. Told all of her family in Indonesia, so it got around in the village, my God, you know, Aisha in Australia, you know, and she would say things like, you know, this is from like the Middle Eastern culture. This is not part of Indonesian culture. So I did beg her for 6 years because I wanted to wear it for spiritual reasons. That was truly my driving motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have such perceptions about covering, and I think just we need to stop telling women to put more clothes on or take more clothes off. I think we just need to stop telling women what to put on their bodies and let women dress as they want to dress.
I'm going to ask you honestly, do you feel like over the course of this evening, because we have talked a lot backstage, do you feel like your position on face coverings has changed slightly?
Yeah, because I think I've always been like, oh no, that's a red line, because it feels to me like somebody is hiding themselves, their humanity. And I guess what Aisha's saying is, no, that was something that I liked doing. I chose to do. My mother didn't want me to do it. My husband didn't want me to do it. But it was something between me and God. And I'm like, why do I?
Very useful during COVID.
Very useful during COVID. But like, why do I get to say if that's what someone wants to do? Like, it just.
Yeah, I think there maybe it was. It's a horrible thing to admit, but I think there was in the theoretical being told, but it's a choice. I was like, oh yeah, but is it? But of course it is. I don't know why I maybe didn't believe people saying.
I mean,
it's
it
a choice.
also cannot. It also, in some situations, isn't a choice. Like, that's the other thing about it.
we have to acknowledge that there are.
We had someone on recently who was from Afghanistan, and after the Taliban came in, they made a film about women having to wear a full, and they were saying, no, we didn't want to. So, it's not uncomplicated, but the idea that we would tell other women if they wanted to cover their face that they couldn't, when we were all wearing masks in COVID, is a bit bizarre, really. It's a bit random that we kind of go, no, that's definitely always not a choice. And I think you're such an amazing advocate for it because of your just...
I'm just telling my experience. My experience is one of many, but I think it's instructive in terms of, I used to complicate the argument and justification saying, well, in actual, fact, it's very subversive. Think about it, in a world where women's body become politicized and commercialized, and we feel the pressure to look a certain way, and then when you wear the hijab or the niqab, the face veil, you remove all of that. There was actually one journalist in WA years ago. She decided to do an experiment by wearing that for a day in Perth, and she said she felt so liberated because she can see the world can't see her. And for me, that was very empowering. If I wanted to take my hijab off tomorrow, I've decided that. But then again, it just comes down to how you feel empowered. I think maybe a takeaway is just when you see a woman dressed like that, just check your assumptions. There may be another story behind it.
I think that's important. Dureshawar, can I ask you, you are a South Asian woman, you are navigating the Australian mental health system, you've been diagnosed with ADHD, and you are an artist and a performer.
Among other things, because as ADHD people know, we're jack of all trades, too many trades. Our cupboards are bursting with trades and hobbies.
I saw the Perth sunrise. I've got the most amazing pictures of it because I had to stay up all night to get the book done. So I got a text going, is it okay if you speak to the assistant for the Minister for Women in 10 minutes? Just because she's running late. And I was like, yes, I was ready. I remembered.
And I was on the phone to you at the time, and suddenly you said,
right.
God, I've just remembered I've got to talk to the Minister for Women. And that was the end of our conversation.
It was her assistant just prepping me because she's going to come, and it's not announced yet, but she's going to come and do Canberra because you know how the Prime Minister and the Minister for Women were at the march, and they said, we would like to speak. And I went, okay, come and speak. She's going to come and speak. Are you having a visceral reaction to that? Why are you having a visceral reaction to that?
Just because everyone saw on the internet what happened, and the woman who organised the marches was very vocal about what happened in her experience, and it was a bit shameful.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, but I want to sort of say, like, what are you going to do about it? Because, I think it's important to say, what are you going to do about it? Because I'm interested to hear what she's going to do about it.
Probably a whole lot of nothing. Labour Party,
We'll put some pressure.
Dureshawar, I want to know, do you think that being a South Asian woman affected your experience chasing diagnoses?
Do you guys watch a lot of Bollywood?
Do we watch a lot of Bollywood?
This is not an ADHD segue. Honestly, do you watch a lot of Bollywood?
Not a lot, but I've
But you're familiar with the genre.
Course, yeah.
The genre. It's a genre. So you are familiar with the genre of Bollywood, yes?
Yes.
Getting a diagnosis as a South Asian woman was a Bollywood movie. Without the fun costume changes and the music and the dancing and like a lot of mistaken identity, and a lot of men sitting in chairs twirling moustaches. And it was far, far too long. The end was not in sight. It took far, far too long to finish. That is literally my experience of getting a diagnosis, because while I started this process off when I was 16 or 17, I was kind of acutely aware that I was not like the other girls, but not in that way. Like I was like, I'm constantly crying, or if I'm not crying, I'm constantly laughing, and I've got 17 projects and there's too many tabs open in my head, and why can't I sit still? And why do I keep interrupting everybody? And I'm doing it now. And I almost did it to Aisha multiple times, and I apologize. But this was my everyday. And we ran through a catalogue of, you have depression, you have anxiety, you have BPD, you have bipolar, back to the BPD. Now you've got all the history. One of them was histrionic personality disorder. And I'm like, is that even current? Like, is that even a thing? And it took me, started at 16. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 36 years old.
Sorry, what?
36 years old. And I had to look for a neurodivergent female psychologist to start the process off. Wow. I deliberately looked for a woman who had a lived experience of neurodivergence to be able to get that diagnosis. To say I fought for it really hard, I wish I was that committed to uni or even starting my own. I wish I was, God knows where I'd be. You'd be on my podcast if I was that dedicated. If I was that dedicated to any of my projects.
Well, I'm really glad you've got the diagnosis. I feel like you probably brought your own costumes to the Bollywood movie that was, because you look absolutely incredible. You both look absolutely incredible.
I'm going to do a twirl. Can I do a twirl?
Yes, I would love you to do a twirl.
I really needed to do that.
Yeah.
Sitting down for a long time is very difficult for us.
I don't find that. I feel like I've got ADHD in so many ways, but I can sit down for England.
That must be wonderful. So there's 3 types of ADHD. They used to call it type 1, type 2. It's not like that anymore. You've got I think you've got one that's the hyperactive type. I definitely have that. I've been diagnosed with that. But there's also the inattentive type, where your mind just wanders and you daydream and you could sit for England. But some people who are lucky them, they have both types. It's bonus, it's like a BOGO. You think you have BOGO in the UK? Buy one, get one free. That is what I have, the BOGO variety. You get one free.
Yeah, I think I have too, but I think I'm much more attentive than I am hyperactive. So I think it's probably it's like being straight-leaning bisexual, which I also am.
Really?
But I think I could be gay-leaning bisexual. It's just environment,
I like to think of myself as a trisexual, as in I'll try anything once.
Well, you've got ADHD. Things, you're in the middle of one thing and another thing distracts you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You're probably at the same orgy that I'm at, but I've got my coat on, one foot out the door.
I'm usually trying to do strange artistic things in the corner.
Yes, yeah. We would both probably do a reading at an orgy.
Yes,
yeah.
probably.
Would anyone like to hear my reading? How would you be at an orgy, Claire?
Look, I think I definitely need a pen and paper so that I could sort of make a list of things that needed to be done in approximate timings. I don't think I'd be very good at going with the flow, is what I'm saying.
Clipboard. Take a clipboard.
I would take the clipboard and I'd be like, sorry, which bit are we up to?
Welcome to ADHD, my friends.
So
honorary.
Like a dance card in a Jane Austen times, where you'd say this man first, this
Yes,
man.
exactly. That's what I'm saying, a Jane Austen orgy card.
That would sell.
And on the Jane Austen orgy part.
Yes.
Save us, Aisha.
Well, I've actually organised the orgy.
I can see. Listen, modest orgies, they would do well too. A modest
There's a
Jane
market for
Austen
everything,
orgy,
really. Yeah.
exactly. Where the men just, I think they should probably keep their pantaloons on.
I'm a feminist, but this brings me to a very good I'm a feminist, but I'm a feminist, but I'm ashamed to say I may have thought about taking last Thursday off, pretending that I had a touch of the vapors, but I don't think my office would have bought the touch of the vapors because the new Bridgerton dropped.
Oh!
I am a feminist, but I should have probably invested in a fainting chair because the last 10 minutes of the last episode of Bridgerton.
Really, were they incredible?
I needed a cigarette afterwards.
I will. Do you know what? I'll text Nicola for you and tell her. Do you make a little video for Nicola and I'll send it to her? Nicola, is she Lady Whistledown? Is that her name? Yeah.
I feel like I need to clarify something because
None of
I
this has
don't
gone
want
to
people
plan.
to misunderstand me when I said I organised the orgy. So I feel very judged right now, but
Not at all. Everyone wants
But that's
someone
okay,
else to
judge away,
organise
that's
the
fine,
orgy.
because I'm judging
Everyone
all of
wants
you.
that. No one wants to organise it. No one.
Right, exactly. I mean, skills, but there is a story behind that. Not that no, that sounds very strange.
Say more.
Okay, so I actually used to organise, not orgies, people, please, don't get too excited, but they were all women parties. Yeah, right, exactly. No, let me explain, because it doesn't sound as... Or could it sound as
Do you need a
exciting?
drop sheet for that as well?
No, no, let me... Look, so
Like
what...
all women orgies.
No, look. Although anyway, we won't go there. Well, look.
I might.
Okay, maybe. Up
If
to
I was
you.
invited. Perth.
Why did I bring this up, to be honest? Now I've just done
It's not-
myself. Okay, let me finish this off.
Yeah.
So I actually established these all-women's gatherings because a lot of the young Muslim girls didn't feel comfortable attending their high school balls. Oh. Yeah, see, that's why there's a backstory. So I didn't want the judgment. But that's okay. So what would happen is that we'd have no men, and there'd be no alcohol. And in actual fact, and some people, what's the point of that? We did have women say that, but it was a safe environment for women to unveil and to enjoy themselves. And I would do this on an annual basis. And in actual fact, every time I mentioned this to a man, he would say, "Can I please be the only man?" I said, exactly.
Sleaze
I said,
fest.
I know. Like that, really, you're not getting it. Yes, exactly.
Matt, don't be like that.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Oh, there was
Why?
actually someone in the audience.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I'm sure Matt would not say that. I'm just taking the piss. None of this has gone like the clipboard said. This must be killing you. We've barely done anything on the clipboard.
The clipboard is a suggestion.
Yeah.
Clipboard's gone.
Yeah. But listen, what I really want to say, because it's gone so freewheeling, which I knew it would when I met you both at the back. I was like, we're not going to have to do anything? And we haven't had to do anything. Dureshawar, is there anything that you'd like to tell us about your theatre work that we should know? Where can we come and see you? What are you doing? How can we support you?
That's a really good question that I didn't think of. Where to from here? I thought I'd get my 5 minutes and, I wouldn't have to ever do this again. But I'm not currently making any new theatre. However, I am going to be part of the Perth Poetry Festival, which is starting in a few weeks' time. So you can just Google that and they'll find
And are you performing?
Yes, in a way I am. In case you didn't notice, I'm not much of when you think poet, you think very composed, and I'm practically decomposing at this point. But that's most likely where you'll find me. Otherwise, I am always at the Blue Room Theatre, either as an audience member or a part of the scenery or somebody sewing little things for costumes. So you will find me at the Blue Room Theatre in Northbridge.
Right.
I love the Blue Room Theatre.
Aren't
Shout
they
out.
great? They're, pardon my French, fucking fantastic.
And do you have any of your poetry that we can read or buy in book form? Is there any other way that we can support you or your work Do you have a Patreon? How can we get involved?
Keep talking. These are all wonderful ideas, and maybe one day my medication will work and I will commit to this. For now, you can find me on Instagram where I have little spiels. I'm what Dore did next, in case anybody has ever wondered what an ADHD person does. They think about what's next. They don't really think about the current project.
That's very good.
But it's like what Katie did, but what Dore did next.
And that's Dure?
No, with an O, funnily enough.
Oh, but okay.
It's Liza with a Z, not with an S. It's
I
Dore
see,
with an O, not with a U.
But your longer name has an E in.
So the funny thing about my actual birth name is that it was misspelt on my Australian visa coming over. Because my actual birth, I don't have a birth certificate. So when I was born back in the 80s in Pakistan, women didn't get given birth certificates. Funny story that. So what I did have from the day I was born was a receipt issued to my father. What? A receipt issued to my, wait, it gets better. It's a receipt issued to my father from the maternity home where I was born for my mother's stay, where she consumed 2 toasts and a cup of tea. And me. She didn't consume me, I came out the other end, but like, not the other end, but you know what I mean. I came out off an end. And I didn't have a name, it's just like baby girl.
Sorry, she ate the 2 toasts and you came out.
Oh, I believe that's how, let's ask Aisha, is that where babies come from? I wouldn't know, I'm just a Muslim girl, how would I know?
I just want to know, if you get a receipt, can you make returns?
Look, that would be a question for my husband now, as my father has now washed his hands of me. That's a question for my husband now. But no, I didn't have a birth certificate, and I had this receipt. So when I moved to Australia, it was kind of on the basis of a Pakistani passport, which used to be written in Urdu, which is the fancy, squirrely, like Persian writing. And in that language, you don't have U's and O's, so it was written in how it's pronounced, Dureshawar. And so some person at some place, the official people, who do the paperwork,
wrote it down that way.
Yeah, they wrote it down
so
that way.
It should be what? D-U-R-O. Duro.
No,
Duro.
it should be Doreshawar.
But what's your Instagram now?
Dore.
D-O-R-E. So what Dore did next?
Yes, we finally got there, didn't we?
It's great. I don't think anyone noticed.
Now, don't you really wonder? Okay. Do we not really wonder how it took me so long to get diagnosed when this is the quality of conversation?
I seriously, we should go on a road trip. God knows. Aisha, where can we see or support you, or what can we do to support or amplify or follow you or buy your clothes?
Oh, well, that's very kind. I didn't expect that kind of promotion, but if you must follow me. No, just to stay in touch, I don't consider myself a big influencer. I just kind of, in my little niche, but you can find me on LinkedIn. Never expected that one. I'm a big LinkedIn user, yes I am.
She's modest by fashion,
yes,
modest by
but
nature.
No,
It's true.
Aisha Novakovich.
Yes, Aisha Novakovich, and on Facebook as well. But I just see us as just staying in touch. That's really the main point.
Wonderful. Well, listen, you've both been incredible guests. Can you please give them a big round of applause? Claire, do you have anything to plug? You got any shows?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to have a show that's going to be recorded for a YouTube special. It's the first time I've done that because I've never said anything that I've stood by before. No, I don't really want the people I make jokes about to see it, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So I will be doing a YouTube special, so that will be out soon. I've also got a podcast. It's not as good as this,
I'm sure.
but it'll do. And it's
It's more organised.
It's called I'm the Worst with Claire Hooper.
I'm the Worst with Claire Hooper. Check it out, download it now, give it a follow. Also, I forgot to say, because I've got ADHD, but it needs to be in the podcast, this is The Guilty Feminists, the podcast in which we explore our noble goals as 21st century feminists and our hypocrisies and insecurities which undermine them. I'm Deborah Francis White, with me is Claire Hooper, and we're talking about what we reveal. That's the end of the show. ADHD baby. But it's not the end of the show, because it wouldn't ever be the end of the show if I had Grace Petrie with me and I didn't bring her out to do her closing set. Put your hands together for the incredible Grace Petrie.
What a night! What an incredible conversation. I've just been in the wings just having a great time listening to you guys. Do you guys fancy singing along? Yeah! Oh, I was hoping you would say that. The state of the world is not amazing at the moment. But I still believe, that solidarity and activism is going to save us. It might be the only thing that saves us. So with that in mind, I would like you to do a sing-along chorus. And if you do it good enough, then capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, it's all going to fall. That's what I think. This is an anti-fascist song. It's called They Shall Not Pass. And it's got a bit in the chorus where I'm going to go like this. Stand up today, and you're going to go, save tomorrow. Fuck me. What a guilty feminist audience. Oh, yeah, no, I think we will do that. Yeah, thank you very much. We've all decided. Let's have a go. Stand up today that we might save tomorrow. Amazing. And it's 3 of those in the chorus, and do that as loud as you can. And if you're loud enough, then the patriarchy walking by outside, it's going to go, fuck. Our days are numbered. You know what I mean? You're not my brother, nor my countryman, not my sister or my friend. You're my comrade, be so till the last. They shall not pass, they shall not pass. Now blood is running through the streets of Spain, and London grips in fear. Oh, smell of gunfire, sound of breaking glass. You shall not pass, you shall not pass. And why fight the good fight, fight the good fight? Why not let them burn? I dread the day when the suffering of my fellow is none of my concern. So stand up today that we might save tomorrow. I know there's a way that we might save tomorrow. Yes, it's late in the day, but we might save tomorrow if we try. I will not turn against my brother for his creed or for his colour, nor the one he takes his lover or his class. You that beckon me that way, you shall not pass. And you who speak of ideology, who speak of people like they're pawns, whose motives lie neath frosted glass, you shall not pass, you shall not pass. In the name now of humanity, no left nor right, no black nor white, tear that fascist flag now from its mast. It shall not pass, it shall not pass. And why fight the good fight, fight the good fight? Why not let them burn? I dread the day when the suffering of my fellow is none of my concern. So stand up today that we might save tomorrow. I know there's a way that we might save tomorrow. Yes, it's late in the day, but we might save tomorrow if we try. No problem. But I just want to point out that you are getting less enthusiastic about the sing-along as the song goes on. And that is fine. It's just that it's sort of the opposite of the message of the song. So we've got one more chorus, you know, and you just vote with your consciences, Perth. That's what it's saying. I will not turn against my brother for his creed or for his colour, nor the one he takes his lover or his class. You that beckon me that way, you shall not pass. psychology really respond to criticism? I will not turn against my brother for his creed or for his colour, nor the one he takes his lover or his class. You that beckon me, that way you shall not pass.
Thank you, Perth. You've been absolutely amazing. Good night. You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Never Bronx's Light, guest co-host Claire Cooper, and our very special guests, Dureshawar and Aisha Novakovich. Music is by Grace Petrie. The theme tune is composed by Mark Hodge. Producer is Alana Boyd for Boyd Presents. Thompson is Foundation. Mr. Kylie Jackson, everyone at Boyd Presents, everyone at Astor Theatre, as well as all of you. For more information about this and other episodes, visit guiltyfeminist.com.
What does your husband do? He's an applause engineer.
He's an applause engineer. It's like a safety engineer, but it's not paid anywhere near so well. And look, honestly, if you walked across a bridge, and it would help you, not at all. But we're building together. We're building a bridge of applause. I can't find the closing titles.
I've had it open
Oh,
for
have you
you
got
for
it?
ages.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, Claire, you are wonderful. Could you wake me up when the second half is over? Just give me a nudge.
Excuse me, Deborah Francis White. I don't think I used your full name, but I was using it in my head.
I just remember being thrilled you could do it, and then I can't believe I asked you to wake me up. Like, did I not have I must have just been paranoid. That I wouldn't
believe
sleep.
you set an alarm, but you couldn't.
I was
you just
terrified I'd
couldn't.
sleep through it. That's right. And I think I thought, oh, if just back up, I don't want to sleep through the show. Okay, ready?
The Guilty Feminist is provided exclusively from Acast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.